first major mountain bike stage race of 2025, the Momentum Health Tankwa Trek presented by Biogen, took place in the searing heat of the Koue Bokkeveld region of the Western Cape. 4 days of world-class trails lay ahead for well-prepared amateurs and professionals alike.
Yeah, I think we're all going to test each other and you just don't want to lose a wheel. Try and be at the front of the race, and if we can have a good prologue, it will set us up for the next couple of days.
Day one's prologue, #Bokkeveld Blitz, was a 30-kilometre mid-afternoon blast through a brand new route that included 470 metres of climbing. Among the galaxy of stars in the men's elite race were first-timers Lucas Baum and Koue Bokkeveld.
Yeah, it's great that Lucas and Georg are here. I think I actually told them that they must come do this race last year, and they're here, so it's sick. I think they're going to enjoy it, and they always bring really good racing, so we know it's going to be hard. There's not going to be any looking around in the first bits like it has been a few years, so I'm excited that we're going to have some boys ripping it from the start.
The women's field was also sprinkled with stardust. South Africa's Candice Lill and former world champion Courtney had teamed up as She Sends, while Marathon World Series champion Namibian Vera Losso was back on the start line.
I think the racing's going to be really on fire this weekend. Lots of good teams there, but that makes it even more exciting.
Yeah, no, and there's no hiding in Tankwa. So once the gun goes off today, everyone will know their pecking order. So yeah, I think we're all excited to get racing.
Bianca was one half of the Safari Essence Titan team alongside national marathon champion Danielle Stradom, while Vera was racing with Sarah Hill. The pace was red hot amongst the top men's teams as they charged through Ernst van Dijk's wonderfully crafted trail network near the race base of Kaleo farm. And there wasn't much between the top teams.
We maybe didn't win, but yeah, I think we rode super well. It was hard, but yeah, we just tried to control the race and made it hard where it was hard, and yeah, we split the group, and yeah, I think it paid off. The next 3 days is more our style of racing. Prologue is normally my weaker point, but yeah, today it was really good, so yeah, means it's going to be a good few days, and we look forward to the longer days on the bike.
The intense racing filtered all the way down the field, with teams reveling in the spectacular trails through the rocks and pristine bush on a hot and dusty summer's afternoon. They gave everything. The stage went to the Pega Eurosteel pair, Michael Foster and Jaden Turlo, but it wasn't without incident.
I fell about 3 k's to go in one of the district road corners. The two Imbuko boys and Michael rode up the road, and I almost didn't see them again. And I kind of got a bit negative because I was like, I'm never going to catch them. And they actually ended up all making a mistake in the last 500 meters, and we were able to take the win today. So it was awesome.
64.5 minutes was all it took to give them a 4-second lead over Nortje and Joubert of Imbuko ChemChamp. Singer KTM Frans Diepjan were third. Lill and Courtney began the women's race very well.
Today was hard. Kate and I went straight from the gun, but that was kind of our tactic, and we wanted to just see what it was like, see how we ride together on the limit, and it went really well. It's only been 1 day racing together, but it went really well. Like, it was a nice partnership that really just gels, and I think we can both have fun and laugh on the bike as well.
Just under an hour and 13 minutes gave She Sends, Lill and Courtney a nearly 2-minute lead over Italians Greta Seerwald and Martina Berta of Spaghetti M&G, with the Ghost Live pair of Tyler Jacobs and Sarah Kortinovas third. After a solid night's sleep, it was an early start ahead of stage 2. The short stage 1 was done. Now it was time for the first of the marathon stages. Foster and Turlo proudly clad in the first ascent leaders' yellow jerseys as the elite men sped away on a stage dubbed #Witzenberg Whiz. Cool morning air gave light to what lay ahead. The temperature was predicted to soar into the mid-30s as they tackled 88 kilometres with 1,900 metres of climbing in the Witzenberg Valley. Defending champion Matt Beers racing with Toyota Specialized teammate Johan van Zyl, they started the day 61 seconds off the leaders in 5th place. It was all very tight. Just 1 minute and 16 seconds split the top 8. The UCI Elite Women's field was a little more spread out, with just under 4 minutes separating leaders She Sends from 3rd place Jacobs and Kortinovas as they departed Kaleo. There were very early problems for Spaghetti M&G, Berta and Seerwald. The Italians had to fix a front wheel puncture. Plugging it cost the 2nd place team a whole lot of time as their rivals sped past. The Hanekom brothers' mazy trails in the Witzenberg Valley are truly special. making use of the natural lie of the land as they cut between and over the giant granite boulders. The Honeycomb 226er pair, Mark Pritson and Wessel Boerter, were well positioned early on. Another victim of the rough trail was Beers. A rear wheel puncture put the defending champion and Johan Pitsel on the back foot. They weren't as badly off as Herman Faria, Valley Electrical Titan Racing. The young man smashed his back wheel and had to walk 5 kilometers to the tech zone while partner Rousseau Becker rode on. It was sadly to be the last we would see of the team as Faria withdrew. Candice Lill and Kate Courtney took charge of the women's race from the off. It didn't take them long to shed their closest rivals, and they rode away into a solid lead. The day's big climb is a brute, rough, steep and loose.
I think Mark was the MVP today. After going into the Witzenberg, there was a bit of a crash in front of me and I got lost contact with the front group, but on the tar road he managed to pace me back, and then we were back in the mix and it split on the main climb with Imbuko driving it a bit, and then just worked with them towards the end, moved into second overall, so I think it's all to play for still on Marino stage tomorrow.
A thrilling finish saw delighted Pritson and Boerter take the win in 3 hours 28 minutes. Just ahead of Joubert and Nortje took the overall lead from Foster and Turlo, who rolled home third 3.5 minutes back. The women's race saw Candice Lill and American Kate Courtney, the 2018 XCO World Champion, show their class. A hugely impressive ride on only their second day of racing together. Behind them, though, things changed with Efficient Infinity's Vera Lossa and Sarah Hill moving into the top 3 after finishing second on the day.
You know, that little dangling carrot sits there and you try a little harder, and eventually we caught them at about 10 Ks to go. It was such a pleasure coming into this finish line second. It's a career highlight for me.
At the end of a dramatic stage 2, the UCI Women's race was led by She Sends, Lill and Courtney by 18 minutes from Ghost Lives, Jacobs and Kortinovos, with Lossa and Hill a further 2.5 minutes back. Imbuko, ChemChamp, Joubert and Nortje led the UCI men's race by a minute ahead of Honeycomb 226er, Pritson and Boerter, with stage 1 winners Paga Eurosteel, Foster and Turlo now 3:27 back in third. Stage 3, #Marino Monster, is the stuff of myth and legend. The 98 kilometers and 2,200 meters of climbing test the resolve and strength of every single rider, be they full-time professionals, wannabe young pros or hardcore amateurs. Little wonder there were some apprehensive faces and nervous smiles on the start line. Needless to say, the pace was high from the off.
Philip drilled it in front there and we were in a good position, so we benefited from that. Going down the pass, again we benefited from Philip being on the front. And then Lucas went to the front and it was a little bit of a headwind, and just kept on riding on the front and I just sat on his wheel. So thanks to those two guys, they really made the day quite simple for us.
Mark Pritson and Wessel Boerter weren't the only ones to be grateful for European champion Lucas Baum's aggressive approach on the front.
Yeah, we were quite happy that he was committing to keeping the pace high. It always works out for us better. We were hoping someone would drive the pace, and luckily Lucas was sort of on our side today.
There were casualties though. Pace and Dutoy Paga were not able to keep pace with the sharp end of the front group. Joubert, Fry, Pritson, Boerter, Nortje and Beers. Second in the mixed race, Elrika Harmsen and Alexander Lawrence. Daniel Stradom and Bianca Hall fighting their way through a train of men. It was dry, dusty and hot.
Marino Monster, always a special stage. For me it's been quite a few years that I've been back at that mountain. But we both felt better than yesterday, where we really ran out of energy. Today, Stevie felt his legs, so we had to really ride our own rhythm. To be honest, there's no chance at the moment following the Imbuko guys. Rode a really strong race today and also the last 2 stages. But at the same time, I think we can be confident in our preparation towards the Epic. We're on a solid level and we'll work from here.
After the shake-up on day 2, there was much to be gained and lost in the UCI Women's race as they headed out on the Marino Monster stage. With the Monster appearing well after halfway, the early pace was relatively gentle. They knew what lay in store.
Marino Monster is always hard no matter what happens. No matter what happens before or after, if you go up that mountain, it's difficult. I think it was probably one of the freshest I've felt at the bottom of the pass. And it was unfortunate that some of our competition has mechanicals and problems like that. But for Kate and I, it was just a matter of pacing it in a really good way from start to finish, saving energy where we can. So I think our overall speed was really high, but we didn't have that like big battle up the Marino, which would have been a lot harder.
It was an impeccable day for the pair whose team She Sends is all about getting more girls and women on bikes. Courtney led Candice over the Anderson Transport Queen of the Mountains at the summit of the Marino Monster. While all the talk is of the brutal climb, which takes in around 800 meters of ascending over nearly 9 kilometers, the descent off the top of the Monster is something very special. Initial paved dual track gives way to a rough and loose farm track, where the best in the business show their consummate high-speed skills.
So the climb went down the other side and vessel broke a wheel. So yeah, we spent quite a little bit of time duct taping that, plugging it, and then 5 minutes after that I punctured, then I fixed that, and yeah, then it was full gas to the finish, just at least, you know, just limit the damages that were done on that descent.
Also at full gas were the yellow jerseys of Joubert and Tristan. Imbuko ChemChamp were the kings of the Marino Monster Day. Tristan and Boerter were fourth after their puncture woes, 8:41 down but still in second on GC. For the hundreds of amateurs behind the pros, the Marino Monster is a truly daunting challenge. Wicked gradients, a loose surface, and a fickle wind. But then it was all over, and there was a load of fun to be had on the long and fast descent back to Kaleo. Courtney and Candice Lill avoided the potential hazards of punctures and crashes and rode to a third successive stage win to increase their overall lead over Greta Seerwald and Martina Berta, who despite another puncture-riddled day, stayed in second ahead of Kortinovos and Jacobs. After another fantastic dryland meal and a good sleep, day 4 dawned bright and sunny. The start line vibe was a touch more relaxed than the day before. Those who had pushed a little too hard on the Marino Monster found it tough to stay with the insane early pace. While it was unlikely that the Honeycomb 226ers would make up nearly 9 minutes on the leaders, they were less than 2 minutes ahead of third place Singer KTM. But sadly for Tristan and Boerter, it didn't go according to plan.
First had a big crash in single track, Jeep track, big crash, and seems he's done it on his face there. And when I got to him, he said, no, he's had a big crash, and then riding down the single track is quite technical as it is, but it's getting quite wobbly, and he eventually was pulled over, and he said, no, he's done, but we all stayed with him as a team, and it appears he's got a severe concussion and big knock to his face here.
An unfortunate end for the SA Marathon champion Wessel Boerter, but good work by the medical team on the route. The stage included around 45 kilometers of single track and highlighted the incredible beauty and pleasure of riding in the Koue Bokkeveld region. Boerter's crash was a salutary reminder to the other racers about the thin line they tread as they snaked between the rocks and bush at high speed. Joubert and Tristan overall lead was secure. It was now all about winning the stage. Matt Beers and Johan van Zyl put themselves in the picture with a trademark Beers attack.
Yeah, last year I haven't had the best year, so yeah, we started the year good at Tankwa, then Trail Seeker, now overall win at Tankwa track. It was one of our goals for this year, but yeah, one of our big goals is still coming. We're super happy with how we rode this last 4 days, and I think me and Marco are a good team together, and I just want to say thank you to the whole team behind the scenes. There's a lot more going into the win than just us riding the bikes.
Imbuko ChemChamp Nortje and Joubert took the overall win ahead of stage winners Brian Steepjan of Singer KTM. Computer Mania Canada Pro Daniel van der Walt and Ursun Specher third. There was no doubt about the top women's team.
It's a hard day. I think our coach Barry over there will be happy with our efforts today. We kind of managed to find a really great pace throughout the week and push each other. So I think it was a really special thing to be evenly matched with a partner, and you know, we both kind of set the same pace, but we also kept each other honest to like really keep on that edge and ride well, stay focused, stay controlled, but put the power down where we could.